Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we're going to be talking about Ripple and XRP. But before we fully jump on into this video, I just want to hear from all of you out there. How has your weekend been? Also, hit that like button if you guys haven't already. But with all of that in mind, today we have quite a bit of a thing to discuss, which is it's mainly around regulations, policy, and what's happening within the US and even outside of the US within this sector. So, guys know my stance on crypto. I do believe that this is a $100 trillion plus asset class. I do think that this technology will allow for industries and sectors, almost every single one of them, if not all of them, to be fully realized in the power and the potential behind them. We are truly disrupting every single asset class, and it's only a matter of time before the power behind crypto does get realized in. But before that happens, we are in the fight of our lifetime around crypto. Like, this is a historical moment in time because what we have been seeing in the last couple years, and even going back to the inception of Bitcoin and crypto itself, I remember everyone saying that Bitcoin is just a currency utilized by thieves and scammers and criminals and all this kind of stuff. And look what ended up happening, right? Everyone knows about Bitcoin. Most individuals out there wanted to buy Bitcoin. They always, talk about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the main topic of discussion whenever crypto goes a little bit parabolic. But as we focus on things that do matter, regulations, things like that, they can stifle this entire asset class. Within the US, I'm not very political. I don't really pick sides or anything like that, but we do see the Biden administration is trying to strangle crypto. A lot of folks have been trying to stifle that criticism, but the effort to destroy the industry is quiet but pervasive across the executive branch. The time to make crypto an issue that wins or loses the presidency is now. Now, we have been focused on major pushes from just the government within the US. We've also been focused on government agencies like even the SEC. And do I believe that this narrative is true? Honestly, from what we've seen with a lot of the bills and things like that around crypto, it seems like they do want to really like not focus on regulating crypto into the ground, but basically controlling this entire asset class. That's the biggest issue that I've noticed around even traditional entities like JP Morgan and a lot of these major fintech companies and banking giants that don't want to lose dominancy within the financial system. But the problem is that outside of the US, we see nations moving extremely fast on crypto regulation and adoption. But in the U.S., we still have clowns like Jim Cramer, sorry, that is talking about the market and how it is truly a sham market, how crypto's recent price action is a manipulation you should ignore. He likes this one shock-proof asset for protection instead. I could just imagine what it is. It's probably gold or something like that. But honestly, whenever yeah, and again, it is gold, which is comical. But whenever I look at these individuals like Jim Cramer or these major entities like JP Morgan and Citi and all of these names that most individuals know about and heard about, whenever they talk negatively about crypto, it does impact quite a bit of individuals out there. Um, and I shared with you guys a video, I think it might have been like a couple weeks back, where it was talking about Jamie Dimon. Now, this is an older video, but when we take a look at it, this is the problem that we see with crypto. Like, this is the real manipulation that happens within crypto. Listen closely to this.
This is a lot of times they're coordinating
Yes.
without the insider trading. This is not illegal to do. The rich get rich. I know personally, I know people that would have gotten in or stayed in if these people weren't saying what they're saying.
Right. And so this has really been extremely egregious. So on September 12th, Jamie Dimon says Bitcoin is a fraud. He says he'll fire any one of his traders buying Bitcoin. Bitcoin drops 24%. When Jamie Dimon speaks,
People listen.
people listen. So that weekend, we found out that the largest buyer of a Bitcoin fund that's in Europe that buys physical Bitcoin, right? The largest buyer was Morgan Stanley and JP Morgan. And that's not illegal.
He says it's a fraud.
It says he'll fire anyone that buys it. Yes.
And at the same time, his company is buying
His
it.
company is buying it.
And again, like, this is the biggest issue that we see around crypto is that You have all these individuals that are paid shills, that are paid to, shill their specific assets and then talk down on specific assets. This is due to these big giants, these big financial institutions, and all of them manipulating the news, manipulating the retail sector. It's the same thing with the government, right? Recently we've seen the SEC pushed a lawsuit onto Kraken. Right now, here we have from Adam Kosherin over on Twitter, and we do see doesn't sound like the SEC Crusade is done yet. And no, it's probably not. In fact, we're probably going to see them go after more exchanges. This may end up being the biggest round of this fight yet, and whichever companies plow forward to actually fight this in courts, we need to be ready to support them. Gensler's power comes from an outdated act from 1933 that left vague what a security is and the poor attempts to define it since. Most SECs give guidance and help the market balance protection with capital formation. Gensler does not. In fact, the last guidance this SEC gave regarding crypto was more than 4 years ago, something entirely inexcusable. Gensler's refusal to give guidance, either positive or negative, is because he knows he can win easily when you don't know the rules of the game. And this is the one thing that we have been focused on. But also around the SEC, very similar to the manipulation, right? Oh yeah, crypto's the manipulation asset class, right? Let's go listen to this. So this got posted. And I've seen this before, actually. This is very interesting. But this is with Senator Warren. Shout out to the Wolf of Wall Street. I don't care if you identify politically as right, left, middle, unicorn, or one-legged salamander. This is outrageous on so many levels that it's difficult to even put in words. We are being intentionally played. And listen closely to this. This is very, like, if you are a U.S. citizen, this should piss you off.
All right, a bombshell report tonight about how Elizabeth Warren, Senator Elizabeth Warren, and her office coordinated testimony with the Security and Exchange Commission ahead of a Senate hearing. The Heritage Foundation Oversight Project, of which I'm associated, through a FOIA request, obtained emails from Warren's office to the office of Chairman Gary Gensler 2 days before his Senate testimony back in September of 2021. The email from Warren's economic policy advisor includes a list of questions. Get this, a list of questions that Senator Warren planned to ask, along with suggested answers for the chairman of the SEC. The advisor also wrote, quote, "Let me know if you're okay with the questions as currently written." 2 days later, she sent a follow-up, quote, "Let me know if it's looking like the chair has any issue with the framing of the questions. Definitely don't want to put him in a tough spot," end quote. And it appears the chairman didn't have any issue with these questions because Senator Warren asked almost verbatim from the email. Check this out.
Chair Gensler, advocates say crypto markets are all about financial inclusion, but the people who are most economically vulnerable are the ones who are most likely to have to withdraw their money the fastest when the market drops. Does this sound like the path to financial inclusion to you?
And again, these are direct quotes from that email. Like, this is what's happening in the U.S. This is what's happening in the U.S. Listen, again, I'm not political at all, but this is the problem right now with crypto. They want to control crypto. They want to make sure that they can keep this asset class stifled fully because they know the power and the potential behind it. And yeah, going back to Adam's tweet here, like, is this the end of the SEC Crusade? Absolutely not. Going over here, right? Going back to the 10th when we originally seen the Kraken news break, this could be the first of many to see the SEC enforcement. This got reported from the DeFi Dawn, and we do see down here, like, Kraken has put an end to staking as a service, and Coinbase could eventually be forced to follow suit. And yeah, I do think that Coinbase is probably going to be next. Maybe Binance. We don't know. Like, almost any of these major exchanges could be targeted next. Like, we don't know. And this is like a big issue to me because when you look at this, we actually compared it to banks. We talked about the amount that you could actually earn on staking and things like that. Like, as you stake in crypto, you could earn double-digit plus figures. And when you go to a bank, you're not earning close to that. You're not even earning single digits. So when we take a look at these crypto exchanges, when we take a look at these services, like DeFi itself is being targeted. They want control over this market. They want JP Morgan and Morgan Stanley and all these big names to be able to have their own services. That way they can collect more money. That's the problem. We are going after the food chain. We're going after the food chain, and they don't like that. They don't like that at all. That's why we are seeing manipulation. That's why we are seeing, individuals being attacked, and we're seeing these companies that are in crypto that want to build out these solid use cases and actually modernize the systems that we utilize on a daily basis being targeted. And the SEC does not want to give any guidance because it allows them to easily win. This is an absolute joke. It's a circus show. And the sooner people realize that, like, this is not about politics, this isn't about this, that, whatever. This is about protecting an asset class that's still very early in its stages. And it's an asset class that's going to have to fight. Like, listen, we are going to have to fight against these agencies, these rogue agencies, and these rogue individuals that are trying to kill this asset class. They are trying to kill crypto. They don't want to see crypto thrive because at the end of the day, guess what? It's going to make a lot of us rich. It's going to make a lot of us rich, and it's going to take power away from these centralized entities. But I question, what exchange is going to be targeted next? Is Coinbase going to be the next one? What exchange is going to be the next one that gets targeted? When? Because it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Because one of these top tier exchanges are going to be targeted yet again. Kraken was a big one. But it's also funny because as the SEC continues to attack this asset class, it thrives outside of the US. Because remember, the US does not distinguish on if, something's successful or not. Like, listen, like, we could push this asset class outside of the US and it will succeed greatly. In fact, a lot of these nations, and I've talked about it quite a bit on this channel, the UK being one of them, the UAE being another one, like, they've been very adamant that they want to be a crypto hub because they see the power and the potential behind this. But as we look at US-based companies like Coinbase, for example, we're seeing them being overshadowed by companies like Binance. Like, the SEC are doing a great job at stifling innovation and leaving America in the digital stone age. XRP Crow hits the nail right on the head here because as we look at Binance compared to any US-based exchange, the best one, Coinbase, is one. Look at Coinbase Exchange. I mean, like 21.4K weekly visits. The lowest that we've seen on Coinbase in a very long time. $585 million compared to almost 5 billion and 14.5 million weekly visits. Just to put this into perspective, let's go down the list here on the weekly visits. So, as we look at Coinbase, it's kind of funny. Like, Coinbase is not even, like, you have almost top 100 exchanges that are much higher on the list than Coinbase alone on weekly visits. We are right under BTSE. We are right around Bit Global that has $35 million. Like, Coinbase has less weekly visits than exchanges that have $125,000 worth of trading volume on them. That's how bad the weekly visits are on Coinbase. And it's because nobody wants to support these US-based companies because, again, at the end of the day, like, we're seeing innovation being stifled. Like, Binance has such a better offering than Coinbase. And the craziest thing is that even the Binance US, like, Binance US has a ton of weekly visits. But look at the amount of volume compared to Binance itself. It's insane to me. This is why we need to ensure that the SEC and these agencies that are trying to fight against crypto and trying to kill crypto and trying to stop it dead in its tracks, we need to fight back. We need to fight back at all costs. We need to support the companies that are trying to fight back as well. I see so many people talk down on Ripple. I see so many people hate on XRP. We should be coming together as a group and stop the MEXC and tribalism mentality and help these companies thrive. Because at the end of the day, no matter what you support, no matter who you support, this SEC, this agency, and the individuals around it that continue to discuss with them and plan things. Like, I remember when the FTX situation got, completely blown out of proportion, and not even an hour later, we seen Elizabeth Warren. There she was with her. Crypto needs to be regulated. This is we're seeing people get hurt. We're seeing the retail individual get hurt. We need this. We need that. Like, these events are fully planned. The FTX situation, in my opinion, was a full-on inside job. And yes, I do believe that the SEC had a hand to play within it. This needs to stop. And with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe to notifications on if you guys want free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. I hope that you all have a beautiful day, beautiful night, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.